All right, we were having a conversation with the legal advisor of the People's Democratic Party in Adamawa State, Mr. Zadok. Are you still there? But while we're waiting to get back to Mr. Zadok, Mr. Kamale, the fact that the primaries were taken to Abuja, don't you think it was because of the security considerations?
Thank you very much. At the time, first, there was never a notice. If you want to move the primaries from one place to the other, you have to tell INEC, you have to tell those concerned, the aspirants, at least 7 days notice is required by the guidelines. That one did not happen. 2, there was no security problem in Yola, the state capital of Adamawa State. As at the time the primaries of PDP was moved to Abuja, APC conducted its governorship, senatorial, House of Representatives, primaries, all within the confines of Yola, the state capital. From where did that security problem emanate as far as PDP was concerned? No reason whatsoever. And moreover, we couldn't have gone ahead to conduct a primary just because we had that a kangaroo primary was being organized in Abuja. No way. Look, 2 wrongs will never make a right.
When you say 2 wrongs here, you are the ones in the state. You know that you were not given any notice of the primaries being moved to Abuja, and you know that that's, according to you, is a kangaroo primary.
Yes.
Couldn't you have held your own primaries? Because INEC was, as you said, INEC was not informed. So why didn't you inform INEC and have your own primaries in your state?
I've already told you, no primary election, particularly for the House of Assembly, House of Reps, Senate, and governorship, will always have supervisors for that primary sent from the national headquarters of the party. They have to supervise the election before they can accept it. Are you getting my point? Look, the House of Assembly election in Adamawa State went on very, very fine. I participated in that primaries. But one person who was unfortunately ambassador Tim Ihe Madu, he was the chairman of the Congress Committee for the conduct of the House of Assembly primaries of Adamawa State. But what happened? Free, fair election. They compiled the result. After going to Abuja, he said he was abducted by no other person but the governor of Adamawa State. What an ambassador. What an ambassador.
He was abducted by the governor of Adamawa State, and then what happened?
Well, according to him, he was forced, according to him, to compile a list of candidates. All that happened, I was a living witness to everything. On arrival in Yola, they went straight to the governor. The governor then invited the party secretary and the party chairman. But according to the ambassador, those 2 people were under suspension by the National Working Committee. The governor brought out a court order 2 days earlier and gave it to him. This is a court order which we have obtained. There is no suspension order on the secretary and the chairman. He agreed. Secondly, he said he came down from Abuja with the list of delegates who will participate in that primary election. The governor said, let me see the list. He asked for the list, and he showed the governor. The governor then said, no, as the leader of PDP in Adamawa State, this list is not authentic. He drew his drawer and brought out the agreed authentic delegates list.
This is the report of the ambassador.
And gave it to the ambassador. Now, the ambassador was convinced beyond any reasonable doubt that the 2 documents in his possession, he had to relate to the national headquarters. He left the governor's office and went to his hotel room. After 3 hours, in fact, The primary election could not hold on the 29th. You know, 29th was for State House of Assembly, 6th December for House of Reps, 7th December for Senate, and 8th for governorship. That was the timetable. And 10th to 11th for National Convention or presidential primaries, if any. So that was the, so our own did not take place on that 29th because of the leader of the party wanting to convince the team from Abuja who are charged with the responsibility of conducting that primary election. So when he got convinced, he dispatched people out to the various 25 state constituencies, and elections were held. The results were brought in. In fact, he had nothing but thanks to His Excellency the Governor, having enlightened them on the situation in Adamawa State. This is the same ambassador who went to Abuja, started writing petition that he was abducted. I mean, if the National
What have you done? Now let us look at what you've done within your party, because obviously you're not happy, and obviously we've seen that
nobody
the PDP
in PDP in Adamawa is happy.
To go by what Mr. Zadok was saying,
right.
It is happy. What have you done? Have you explored the mechanisms? Because we've also heard that, you know, public complaints are not allowed within your party, that you must seek, you know, to address the issue through the mechanisms provided within the party. What have you been able to do in that respect?
Please permit me. I just want to read a section of the Electoral Act. It doesn't necessarily mean that because you have been cheated, you have been bastardized, you just... Section 87, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act, as amended, states, I quote, notwithstanding the provisions of the Act, this Act, or rules of a political party, that is the guidelines for the primaries, an aspirant who complains that any of the provisions of this Act and the guidelines of a political party have not been complied with in the selection or nomination of a candidate of a political party for election may apply to the Federal High Court or the High Court of a state or FCT for redress. This is very clear. It applies to all the existing political parties in Nigeria because Electoral Act is supreme to the party's constitution, supreme to the party's guidelines, so it's binding on all the existing political parties in this country. If you have such a provision, we are exhausting that. We have gone to court because we are left with no other option. We sent a delegation, as the legal advisor said, comprising of who is who in Adamawa State, including the governor, to see the national leader of the party, Mr. President, to see the national chairman, to see the national working committee, to make them realize that what has been done is not in tune with the law. But to no avail. So we are constrained to go by section 87, subsection 9 of the Electoral Act. We are not going against the party. A provision has been given to us, and we are ready to exhaust that one. So already we are in court, and we are waiting for the outcome.
What are you praying the court?
Praying the court to declare whatever happened in Abuja as null and void and therefore of no effect. Because it was not a primary conducted for Adamawa people. Delegates from Adamawa State did not participate in that Kangaroo election. Only a few people, if you want me to name them, Nuhur Babo, Ahmed Ali Gulak, Ali Idi Hong, Senator Zungina. The four of them, go and check your tape. These are the four people who went to the National Secretariat because they had shared positions amongst themselves. Nuhur Babo for governor, Ahmed Ali Gulak, Adamawa North senatorial candidate, Dr. Ali Idi Hong, Adamawa Central candidate for the Senate, Dr. Sada Zungina, Adamawa Southern Zone candidate for the Senate. How can you term this kangaroo type of lawless behavior